Hi everybody, TJ Mac Vintage Cards and Nostalgia here, and in today's episode, I'm deciding whether or not I want to put together the 1934 to 1936 Diamond Star set. I'm not really a set builder per se. I just like to collect stars, Hall of Famers, important players in history, cards that I like the artwork of, but I don't usually go after sets. I have put together card-by-card sets of 1969 Topps Baseball and 1973. 69 mainly because of the Miracle Mets that year. It was the last Mickey Mantle card, first Reggie Jackson, and I just like that set in general. It's also the year the Seattle Pilots came into the league, and you have the Expos and Royals cards as well. So it's a pretty neat set, and it's one that I enjoyed putting together. And then in 73, there was a lot of innovation that Topps was doing with photography that year and experimentation. So you got some really cool looking cards from that set. So that was a fun one to put together as well. But this one here is a much more manageable set from the standpoint of size. It's only 108 cards. And it's one that I could display the entire set in my card room if I chose to do so. And originally it was planned to be 240 cards, they said, in my research. But Diamond Star's brand went out of business in 1937. The company National Chicle went out of business in 1937 and was bought by Gowdy. So the way these cards were issued is in 1934, it's believed that cards 1 through 24 were issued, and then in 35 they issued cards 1 through 84, so 1 through 24 were issued again. And then in 36, they did just certain cards between cards 1 and 31, and then cards 73 through 108. So these were set out over a 3-year period where they were issuing these cards in penny packs. So the total number of cards in this set, again, is 108. There's 96 different players, and then 12 players were repeated at the end. So that's part of a reason why I may not want to do the whole set is because I don't really want to buy 2 of the same or similar cards at the end of the set just to complete the set. So I may just do the 96 different players and display those in my card room, or I may even do less than that. So I'm still playing around with it, but what I do know that I love this set and I want to have more of these cards in my collection. I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is right now. So everybody pretty much that collects this set or has learned about this set knows that it's the Art Deco style that really draws people in. But I want to talk a little bit about why that is. We often say it's the Art Deco style, but I want to get a little bit more into that with these 3 examples right here. And I'm going to show you a couple new Diamond Star pickups that I've added to my collection recently. So one of the great things about the Diamond Stars is just the different backgrounds that they bring into these cards. And for example, on this Pie Trainer, you can see the background behind him has all these different colors. So you have like a full bright red here in this particular part right here. So you can see, and then you got the blue on the top, and then the darker color contrast with it, and then the green of the field behind him. So there are these softer colors along with the brighter colors, and they just have a lot of tone shifting within them that just creates this very nice backdrop to this image of Pie Trainer in front of it. And you have the yellow sleeves on him here, and he's holding the bat. And then you got the trim there around the buttons of his uniform going up to the collar. Just a very attractive, sharp card, and it's these backgrounds of the Diamond Stars that I really think make them stand out from other sets of the era or before. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in these next 2 cards. I was doing some research for this video. It's, again, this background detail that's particularly interesting with this set. Now, most of the pre-award cards to this point, they didn't put a lot of thought into the backgrounds, I don't think, unless they were just doing a photograph. But, like, if you look at T206, I mean, they have some beautiful skies and colors, no doubt about it. They're gorgeous cards. But what the Diamond Stars does that's a little different is, other than having, like, a patch of grass or a baseline or a pitcher's mound, those other issues, that's all they would really have. With Diamond Stars, they put a lot of thought into the backgrounds. And here you can see the grandstand behind Rogers Hornsby, and you can see the different members of the crowd wearing the attire of the day, be it the fedoras or caps on the men's hat. And they just use these different colors here of the red and yellow just to draw the outline of that background. And then you have Rogers Hornsby leaning casually against a fence there or part of the dugout maybe, and you got his hands just relaxed in front of him. And it's a similar image on the Carl Hubble that you can see on the Hornsby. The difference here, though, in this one, it captures the metropolitan background in the landscape. And you can see this city building back there that really draws you in, because a lot of the cities back then were in metropolitan, or a lot of the stadiums, were in metropolitan areas, which really brings you into baseball during that time frame and just the growth of the cities during that era and just how Major League Baseball life was at that time. And that's something that's very alluring about the Diamond Stars issue that sets it apart, I think, from other issues, is that it transcends the idea of, to me, what a card represents, because, normally you would just see the subject in the front of it, and then just that background, like I said, in the backdrop that may just be colors or nothing quite as exciting as I think these cards have. So it brings you into the world of that baseball player at that time, and you're going to see that theme throughout this issue, and that's what I just love about it. Diamond Stars issues have very interesting backs on them. They talk extensively about the player or about the game itself. And then you can see here that the one here, this number 83, which is the Paul Wainer, has the blue ink back. And then the one next to it, which is the number 2 card in the set of Al Simmons, has the green back. And both of these cards, one of them was issued in 1934, which was the Al Simmons, and then the blue back here was issued in 1935. Though some of the 1935 issues have the greenbacks as well on them. So this is a later part of the series, the number 83, and then the number 60 here is a little bit earlier part of the series, and it has the green lettering on the back. But in this instance, both of these are 1935 cards, because you go to the batting average right here where you see 1934 and then 1934. So it tells you it's a 1935 card. And they also have the copyrights on it, but I don't know if you can always rely on the copyrights for these. I always go off of the year that they showed the batting average for. What else I like about the Diamond Stars cards, too, versus the Gaudy, even though I do love the Gaudy, is that on the Diamond Stars they put a lot more logos and team names on the jerseys, which I appreciate because it's cool to look at them from that time period. And I talked about in the past video recently about this Wally Burger card, how you can even see like the B on his hat isn't correct to the period. But it's just the artist's interpretation when they put the card together, which I think is kind of cool, that the actual B on the Braves hats back then would run through the line. It wouldn't be next to the line like that. I talked about that before. So it's just those little details that I like to study and enjoy about the cards when I look at them. But just a nice feature in addition to the backgrounds on these cards. Here are my 2 latest editions. I've had the red roughing for a little while, but I haven't showed it on my channel yet. But I recently picked up this Gus Sir card as well. So these are my 2 new ones, bringing my total in my Diamond Stars collection up to 11. And the Gus Sir card is just a fantastic example of what I love about Diamond Stars. I mean, this is an actual play in a game or a depiction of one, and you can see Gus Sir, who was a first baseman with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was actually captain of the Pirates in 1936. He had 300 RBI seasons. Very, very good player at that time. He held the most consecutive games played record in the National League with 822 upon his retirement. That was later broken by Stan Musial, I believe, in 1957, and then later broken by Steve Garvey. Of course, we know the Major League record is held by Cal Ripken. So just a really good player of that time period. But what I love about this card is you can see here he's got the smile on his face, and you have a runner charging down the first baseline there as he's bringing the ball into his glove there. So he's happy he made the play, I guess. But it's just these funny, in some ways not realistic depictions of the players, but I think very cool nonetheless, because it does just capture the essence of the game at that time. And just the art that was in vogue at that time in the Art Deco. So just love that. And then next to him here, you have this Charles Red Ruffing, who I think was probably the best pitcher in Yankees history up to Whitey Ford coming along in the 1950s. And his career really was a tale of 2 careers. I mean, he started off with the Boston Red Sox, where he was 39 and 96, and he played with them from 1924 to 1930. And then he goes over to the Yankees and finishes his career from 1930 to 1942, and then 45 to 46, going 231 and 124 with 6 World Series championships. So it's probably good to be a Yankee if you're Red Ruffing during that time, because the Red Sox certainly were struggling back then. And Ruffing was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1967. So he was an outstanding pitcher for that period. But what captures well on this card is that the Diamond Stars were known for adding players in the backgrounds of their cards, or umpires, or like I showed on the Hornsby, fans. So that was just another added feature to the cards that you really weren't seeing at that time, was these additional players. And I've shown this Paul Wainer before, but you can see here the umpire in his garb of the day with the catcher there, and then you have this other player in the background. So just a lot of neat, fun images that really draw me into wanting to put this set together. So here's just a shot of my 11 Diamond Stars cards all together. What a beautiful display these make. Can't wait to add more to the collection, and I'm being very selective. And my approach for this is going to be pick out all the cards that I like the most, be it the stars or just the non-star players, but it's going to be the art that I appreciate the most for each of these cards, and then I'm just going to kind of go that way. And if I find myself not wanting to continue with the project, I'm going to have the cards that I like already in my collection that I don't plan on moving. Either way, they're going to make great displays. I have a 30-card display case, a 50-card case, a couple 36-card cases. So I can put together a really nice display of these no matter how I go. So I don't really feel a lot of pressure with this project. I'm just going to take my time with it. I have a lot of other collecting interests, but these are ones that I just love to add from time to time. And when the feeling's right, I'll go on to eBay and pick up one when I see one. So I appreciate everybody joining me today, and have a great weekend, and we'll talk again soon.